Would it make someone a jerk if they ordered alcohol on a double date? We'll get into that story shortly, but first, am I the jerk for telling my dad he should bath his own daughter? So I, female, 19 years old, have two sisters, but only one is important to this. So my sister, let's call her A, female, 18, but cognitively 9, has been severely disabled since birth. She was born with a super-duper rare defect in her brain, and one of the many consequences of that is poor motor skills, which make it impossible for her to bathe herself, among other things. My dad, male, 51 years old, has consistently refused to bathe her since she hit around 13 because he says it's illegal. She had medical intervention to start puberty about a year ago because she doesn't produce the hormones, so it wasn't a puberty thing, and has told me that, as her older sister, it's my job. Now, A doesn't care about this because I'm the only person who's ever actually helping her with anything. But I don't think it should be my job and only my job, seeing as I plan to move out as soon as I can find a stable income, hopefully in the next 6 months for my own health reasons. As soon as I realized her reliance on me, I started trying to reverse it, but that's difficult when you're expected to do all the caretaking. Ever since he started brushing this job off onto me, I've told him he shouldn't sexualize bathing his disabled daughter, but he just turns it around onto me and tells me he can't because she has boobs, and the courts disagree with you. I don't want this to be another thing that A will be left to figure out all on her own. Am I wrong for not wanting to bathe her? Edit. I should add, my mom is in the picture, but she goes out with friends some nights and she likes visiting her family. They're many provinces away. Another edit. A few people have been confused about the cognitively 9-bit and taken that to mean it's just a mental delay. But it's not. She's missing part of her brain, and other parts are damaged. She has impaired vision, speech, and movement, as well as extremely low muscle tone. Also, I'm in Canada. It sounds like there's some pretty severe family dysfunction here, but not the jerk. I don't understand why this all falls on the sister. They've got to figure this out, but it's not OP's fault, not the jerk. Here for the Scones commented, "You are already not the jerk, but the fact that you say your mom is also in the picture but has her own life is double not the jerk. I definitely think the word parentification gets thrown around too much, but this is a clear example. Please save every bit of money you can and move out, preferably far away, from your negligent and irresponsible parents. Neither of them should have any life that doesn't involve ensuring adequate care for all their children is met first." And OP replied to this, "The end goal is for me and my partner to move halfway across the country so that we're closer to both our extended families and we never need to risk running into parents in public." Also, hey everybody, my name is Brendan, and if you guys enjoy these Am I the Jerk videos, it would be amazing if you like the video, comment it down below if you're listening to our podcast. Now then, our next story is, am I the jerk for not going on a cruise where my sister-in-law invited 2 other couples we do not know? My sister-in-law and I were planning to go on a cruise together with our husbands. Her husband is my brother. We're all in our 40s. She booked their cruise and I hadn't booked ours yet as I was busy. She thought I had already booked ours. As we're texting about the cruise, she texts me that she invited 2 other couples to go and they've booked too. We don't know any of these people at all. It isn't the first time she's invited people we don't know to functions, like dinner out, and I thought we were just gonna be the 4 of us. Many times when other people are invited, my husband and I are cast aside and tend to feel like fifth wheels. We pay for our own dinner and always been good sports about it. My husband no longer wishes to go, and frankly, neither do I. If we had planned on other couples going and invited some friends we know, that would be one thing, but we hadn't. Not one time in our plans was inviting others mentioned. Now we're thrown in with people they've known for years that we don't know at all. So we decided we don't want to go on an expensive cruise, not to mention the time off work, with strangers. I told her we've decided not to go, but to have fun with their friends. It was a bit hurtful, but we're trying to be good sports about it and not cause a fuss. She doesn't understand why we don't want to go and is now upset with us. She doesn't think it's any big deal to invite others. My husband and I would never dream of imposing strangers, even for dinner, without first discussing it with folks we made the original plans with. Now I think I am the jerk for canceling going on a cruise. I suppose I am the jerk for controlling who she invites. Am I the jerk for seeming petty if you invite others? My husband and I aren't going. I mean, I can kind of see both sides of this, but ultimately, if you agreed to go on a trip under certain parameters and pretenses and that ends up not being the case, then yeah, I mean, you're well within your rights to be frustrated by that and, revoke your own invitation. So I'm going to go with not the jerk. Milo35 commented, "Not the jerk. Your sister-in-law is selfish and rude. If she wanted to invite others, she should have asked both of you before inviting other people, as the four of you had already made a plan. Stand by your decision to withdraw. Explain next time the four of you make plans. If there are any changes, you want the changes discussed in advance so you and husband get to choose whether or not you're okay with it. That's what respectful adults do." And OP replied to this, "Yes, you're correct. I should have placed parameters on the cruise. That was my oversight. Thanks for the validation. I've been so upset about the whole thing I hardly slept." Our next story is, am I the jerk for not going to a dinner at a sushi restaurant for my girlfriend's birthday because I can't eat fish, seafood? Hello, I, 29-year-old male, can't eat fish or seafood. It's not that I'm allergic. If someone next to me is enjoying a plate of fish or lobster, I'm not going to be sick. I can even nibble a bit of it without trouble, but if I eat even a tiny bit too much, one sushi might be the limit, I'll turn green and start violently emptying my digestive tract from both ends. Not great. So recently it was my girlfriend's, 32-year-old female, birthday. At home with the kids, 5-year-old male and 8-year-old male, we celebrated properly. We went to a Greek restaurant with cake and gifts. That being said, my mother-in-law, 60-year-old female, organized another birthday dinner over the weekend with all the in-laws. She chose to have it at a sushi restaurant. My in-law is well aware that I can't eat fish or seafood. We've been together for more than 8 years now, so it's a known fact I turn into a puke goblin when I eat fish and seafood. It's not either a once-in-a-lifetime kind of deal. The previous dinners was a challenge too. It was a takeout sushi party, once again at the mother-in-law's house. Sure, they got me some rotisserie chicken for the evening, but I was made fun with snarky remarks such as, I should join the kids' table with my chicken, or, we're all happy you can't eat it, that leaves more for the rest of us. I understand those were supposed to be light jokes, but being singled out and made fun of isn't what I call a nice evening. And even coping with the jokes, it's also a fact of not being included. This is not an isolated case, as it's happened more often than I can really count. The idea of once again being made fun of and singled out started to really depress me, and after some thoughts, I decided I would set up a boundary. If an event is specifically organized around eating some foods I can't partake in, I would simply not accept the invite. No grudging, no hard feelings, just not for me. Felt great to come to this decision, not gonna lie. But all this thought process concluded the day before the dinner party, when I told my girlfriend she wasn't happy. You can't cancel the day before. You should have said something earlier. There are options for you. It's not a deliberate choice against you, etc. But in the end, I told her it was important for me, at this point in my life, at my age, to be able to set boundaries and tell people, no hard feelings, but this is a no-go for me. I also volunteered to tell my mother-in-law and assume the guilt trip that would come with it. Because it's my decision, I would also let her choose if I keep the kids that night or if she wants to bring them along. My girlfriend ended up agreeing and understanding. I then proceeded to politely excuse myself from the evening, citing the real reason. I just don't partake into fish and seafood-related events. Sure, the mother-in-law was all drama, but I stood my ground politely. So, I myself am violently allergic to shellfish of all kinds, shrimp, lobster, clams, oysters, all that fun stuff. Absolutely gives me horrible allergic reactions, so I can relate to this to an extent. My family all knows when we go out to eat, if you have to eat shrimp, sit on the other end of the table, but I've learned to deal with it. But I suppose it's everyone's prerogative. If you're made to feel uncomfortable, you can obviously withdraw. So not the jerk. Character Extreme 34 replied, hate to break it to you, but what you describe as being violently ill and having it come out both ends can be a symptom of an allergic reaction. You may very well be allergic to fish and should get it checked, as it could get progressively worse the more you come into contact with it. You could go to the restaurant and have a vegan sushi option. This is what I do, as I'm allergic to shellfish. Our next story is, am I the jerk for responding tersely to a sister-in-law's rebuke over email? Sunday evening, me, female, 46 years old, husband, male, 46 years old, and daughter, female, 7 years old, were invited to visit my husband's sister for dinner. She put out a spread of delicious food for adults, but our child rejected most of it. Curried fish, eggplant salad, quinoa salad, etc. Child wolfed down multiple pieces of a very crumbly bread loaf from a bakery. Child knew that she was spilling some crumbs onto the floor beneath the dining room table, but didn't think much about it. We, parents, were in a group conversation and didn't notice. Admittedly, we could have and should have checked the floor afterwards, noticed, and cleaned it up. We thanked her and hugged goodbyes and left at 7. At 11 p.m., we get an email from her informing us that she discovered that, in her assumption, our daughter swept lots of breadcrumbs from her chair down onto the floor, and that this is extremely unacceptable behavior, and that sister-in-law had to vacuum it all up. Sister-in-law would have told our child to vacuum it if sister-in-law had seen it. Sister-in-law says this is not the first time she's observed our child leaving garbage on the floor without cleaning it up, and this is completely unacceptable, in my home, at least. Moreover, sister-in-law wants to address this directly with our child, in addition to telling us we need to correct this bad behavior. It was 3 paragraphs of histrionics over this, and no small amount of shaming us as parents. We spoke with 7-year-old who said she ate a lot of bread and knew it was making crumbs, but she didn't sweep them onto the floor. They just happened while eating. We spoke gently about being a considerate guest. No big deal. I, however, was quite shocked and offended by the intensity of judgment and shaming in sister-in-law's email to us. I waited 24 hours and simply wrote, "Apologies, we spoke with her. Thank you." Now husband is saying I went nuclear with my response, and sister-in-law is angry about it. It is true that a reply is a completely different tone and terseness than my normal communication style, and the terseness was intentional. But why am I now the villain when, if anybody went nuclear here, it was sister-in-law who flipped out over finding a bunch of breadcrumbs on the floor under where a 7-year-old sat at her table? Who's the jerk here? I think the bigger question is, why is this conversation happening over email? That's just kind of weird. Like, can we get a text, an instant message, something? Let's jump into the comments. Okay, Homework 7621 replied, she wanted to summon a 7-year-old for a lecture on breadcrumbs, and your reply is nuclear? Your husband needs to get his priorities straight. And I would keep an eye on her the next time she's around your child and would absolutely not allow this addressing she is so eager for. Our next story is, am I the jerk for not stocking the fridge for my husband after his business trip? My husband went out of the country for a business trip and returned home over the weekend. I was out of town visiting friends when he returned. His gripe was that he was left with no food. For context, I do the majority of the grocery shopping, about 90-10 ratio, and he does his share of other chores, etc. I admit there was not a refrigerator full of fresh food because I did not go to the store that week. However, I can attest there was a freezer with several meals and a pantry with food that could have been prepared. Perhaps not what he was hoping for, but there were some options. Also, we live in a major city with plenty of grocery stores and restaurants within walking distance. Again, not ideal after a red-eye international flight, but options. At first, it wasn't a big deal, more of a joke, but when he repeatedly made jabs at me about it, I stood up for myself, and now it's a full-blown argument. We're both stubborn people. I can acknowledge that it would have been nice if I'd stocked the fridge upon his return from the trip. However, I work a full-time job myself, and I see it as we're both capable adults at providing food for ourselves when the other is busy. I've got to know, am I the jerk in this situation? No. Of course you're not the jerk in this situation, and also, who's getting home in the wee hours of the morning after a red-eye flight expecting a home-cooked meal? Like, you need to pull up and get you some McDonald's or something, buddy. Go grocery shopping tomorrow. Not the jerk. Randomized Name System replied, if only men had access to the family money and allowed to go to grocery stores. I surely hope he did not starve to death. Not the jerk. Our next story is, am I the jerk for removing my sister-in-law from the family Spotify plan? I got married a couple weeks ago, and we're in the process of merging our finances. This includes going through all our subscriptions to reduce redundancy and sync our bills. In doing so, we realized that my husband's brother's ex-wife is still on his family Spotify plan. Because she is, we can't add me. My husband started the family plan about 6 years ago, for himself and his 2 older brothers. It allows him to have 4 separate accounts in the plan, and the cost per account is lower than paying for them individually. When the plan was created, each brother got an account, and the last account went to the middle brother's wife. The plan is under my husband's name, so he's the administrator. He gets billed annually, and the others reimburse him for their share. At the time, this made perfect sense. They all saved some money. The middle brother was the only one with a spouse, and although my husband and I had been together for about a year at the time, I was about to start grad school, so I could still get the student pricing and thus had no reason to join the plan. Now it makes less sense. I'm out of school, we're married, and the middle brother got divorced about a year and a half ago. We can easily afford to keep my separate Spotify, but we also realize the ex never paid my husband back when the plan renewed this year, so we agreed it made more sense to remove her and add me in order to simplify our subscriptions. So that's exactly what my husband did. He deactivated her, joined my Spotify to the plan, and texted his middle brother to let the ex know. We didn't text her directly because she became extremely volatile during their divorce, so the brother asked our whole family not to contact her directly so all communication could flow through a specific moderated messaging app that their lawyers recommended. This has caused a family conflict. The middle brother is mad at us because he feels like we're forcing him to have another fight with his ex just so we could save a buck. It's true that she'll definitely be set off by this. Plus, he feels like she deserves to stay on the plan because they were together for a long time, aka longer than my husband and I. We can definitely see how it sucks for him to have to reach out to his ex and inevitably pee her off. On the other hand, the oldest brother agrees with us. She can't stay on the family plan forever just to avoid a conflict. It's healthier to sever these last ties. She chose to leave the family. Divorce was her call, so she gave up any family-related benefits, and there are logical reasons for me to join the plan now. So, internet strangers, am I the jerk for asking to join my husband's family Spotify plan and thereby forcing his brother to have a conflict with his ex? No, I mean, what you're doing makes perfect sense. I feel like a married couple should be on the same plan, and also you don't owe her or brother, middle brother, any kind of explanation. Cut her out, they don't even have to speak about it. She can seethe in silence. Future Crazy Cat Lady commented, I don't think it's necessary that middle brother lets her know. She's bound to notice the next time she tries to use Spotify and will either just accept that she's not part of that family anymore, by her own choice, or will reach out from her side to bench about it, in which case middle brother has the same fight as he's fearing for when he reaches out to let her know. And if she complains about it, the answer to, why did you remove me, should simply be, you didn't pay for it at the last renewal, so we assumed you don't want to be on it anymore. And who knows, maybe she's not even actively using it currently, and not paying for it was actually her way of saying, I'm not part of this deal anymore. Not the jerk. Our next story is, am I the jerk for refusing to give my brother-in-law a free massage even though I own a massage studio? So I basically run my own little massage therapy business. I rent a comfy studio, have regular clients, and honestly, I work really hard to keep the business moving. It's my full-time job, not just a side hustle, and it pays my bills. This weekend, my sister and her husband came over for dinner. At some point, my brother-in-law casually asked, Man, I've been so sore lately. Can you just give me a quick massage while we're here? I kind of laughed it off and said, That's what I do all week. You can book a session with me if you want, though. He looked offended and said he thought family should get freebies. My sister chimed in and said, Yeah, come on, you can't just do 20-minute back rub for him. It won't cost you anything. I told him it does cost me time, energy, and the skills I spent years training for. If I start giving away free massages every time someone in the family feels sore, I'd basically be working for free half the time. They got kind of grumpy about it and said I was being stingy, that it's just a massage and I should want to help the family. Now I'm feeling weird because I don't want to be selfish, but I also don't think it's fair to expect me to work for free just because I own the business. Am I the jerk for not giving my brother-in-law a free massage? I mean, technically you don't owe them anything. I do think that there's just kind of like that unwritten code or rule that you do look out for family members, assuming that it's a healthy, thriving relationship there, familially speaking. But I'm going to say not the jerk, but I do 100% understand why they're upset about this. Defiant Radish 1492 replied, You're not the jerk. They are. Do they ask their accountant cousin to do their taxes for free? Their painter uncle to paint their house for free? Our next story is, Am I the jerk laughing out loud when my wife said the song Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters was demonic? So my wife just got home from church and her church group and immediately said our kids should no longer be singing this song or watching K-pop Demon Hunters, saying someone in the group said it's demonic. I just laughed because that's outrageous. Wouldn't the song be more in line with Rumi facing her demons and seeing the light? Heck, if I wanted to turn it into belief, golden or the light could signify God. I'm still eye-rolling as I type this. Not religious, and I encourage my kids to make their own choice, but come on. Now she's upset and mad I laughed at her comment and said it was ridiculous. Am I the jerk? Yes, OP, you are the jerk. This song is absolutely demonic. I'm kidding, of course. I do have to listen to this song every day with my own kiddo, so I'm a little over golden and shining and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I hear it in my nightmares, but no. Obviously, this is way overblown. OP, not the jerk. AI Reen commented, not the jerk, whatever the popular thing with kids and teens is, D&D, rock music, Pokemon, Harry Potter, high control religions will feel threatened by and preach against. Maybe they just want to capture some of the attention with whatever's cool. I don't know. But I remember certain fringe religious people and orgs made an argument that Tickle Me Elmo was demonic. So, our next story is, am I the jerk for making my husband solo parent for 30 minutes a day? I just want to preface that my husband is aware I'm making this post. We're not at each other's throats about this, but we're definitely not in agreement. So I'm a 30-year-old female. He's 34-year-old male. We have 2 kids, 1 and 2 years old. I work from home part-time, 12 p.m. to 5:30 p.m., Monday through Friday. I also watch our 2 kids. In the morning, they get all my attention, and it's not too bad, but in the afternoons, after their naps when I'm trying to work, keeps them entertained and taken care of, it's quite difficult. We're actively working on a different solution, but this is what we have to do now. My husband comes home right around 5:30 when I get off, and I immediately start getting dinner ready. I hate laundry and he hates cooking, so we have an agreement that I do all the cooking and he does all the laundry, and I don't mind at all. The only thing I ask is for him to watch the kids and keep them out of the kitchen for 20 to 30 minutes while I get dinner ready for us all. It's always a struggle for him, and I know he's tired after working all day too, but I really need to be able to keep them out so they're safe and I can get it done. He usually asks for help when one is fussing or he has to go to the bathroom or whatever. Tonight, I was in the middle of cooking, hands dirty, stove and oven on, and he asked if I could help change one of the kids while he held the other because he was being fussy. I told him no, that I do this all day by myself and work, and all I need is 20 minutes to cook for everyone. He got really upset at this, saying it's not fair because I'm at home now and I can stop for 5 minutes to help. I finally caved and helped, but I feel like it's not that much to ask for 20 to 30 minutes to cook. I want to add that any other time we're both home, we work together, letting each other have breaks, times to relax, and both help play and take care of them. The care is very evenly split when we're both home. So, am I the jerk for initially refusing to help my husband with our kids while trying to cook? No, OP, you're not the jerk. Honestly, you wouldn't have been the jerk if you just asked for 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes to just lay down and catch a breather. But the fact that you're asking for 20 to 30 minutes so that you can cook, nurture and take care of the entire family? No, you're so selfless, you're so amazing, and definitely not the jerk. Bibbidi Bobbidi Nope commented, not the jerk. He can handle his own children for 30 minutes. Holy heck, the weaponized incompetence. He should be embarrassed. Our next story is, am I the jerk for visiting Krakow? Did not allow the person with no fob to enter fob-protected hotel behind me? Everyone has been extremely kind and helpful to me as a first-time visitor to Poland. Our hotel requires a fob to access the unattended lobby, where guests leave unattended luggage if arriving before check-in. As I entered the hotel with my fob, a person was on her phone, waiting at the entry. She said she was trying to reach the management to gain access, but would come in behind me instead. I politely told her I could not let her in, but would contact management for her. She tried to push the door forward, and I continued to close it. She then told me to F off. She was a middle-aged woman, dressed fine and didn't look threatening, but it didn't seem appropriate for me to let her enter when other guests had belongings in the side room, visible in the lobby. After she told me to F off, I did not attempt to find management to assist her. Am I the jerk? No, you're not. The only people that are jerks are people just in general that try to tailgate in behind people that are swiping a pass to get through a door or drive through, one of the arms that lets cars in and out of parking garages. Don't do that, people. Mage Vicky replied, not the jerk. Pretending to be busy with your phone is a classic scam to get people to let you into places. You did the right thing. She was on her phone trying to contact the people in the lobby on the other side of the door? Right. Our next story is, am I the jerk for ordering alcohol on a double date? Am I the jerk? My fiance, male, 30 years old, and I, female, 34 years old, have been dating for 3 years and engaged since October 2024. We hardly ever fight. We live together and have a very solid relationship. My fiance has a best friend whom he doesn't see that often because he lives an hour away. Let's call him Jack. Jack is a very reserved person, and he's very sweet and hasn't dated since my fiance and him graduated from college. So, for the longest time, he hasn't had a serious relationship. He met a girl via dating apps a while back, and they started hitting it off. My fiance and I were very happy for him to finally date someone that he likes, but this girl, let's call her Millie, is a recovering alcoholic. Millie had been in a very bad situation from a previous relationship where they were enabling each other. My fiance and I were a little worried about Jack dating Millie since she had recently broken up with her ex. Fiance and I also thought it was good that Jack doesn't drink alcohol. He never liked it. So far, Jack has been very supportive to the point of helping her find a job after she left rehab. The four of us went on a couple double dates, and in both cases, I ended up ordering wine, to go with my meal. Fiance was appalled I ordered alcohol. After the second double date, Jack asked my fiance in private to please not order alcohol when we go out next time. This made me feel upset. I feel like this is nothing I do not want to stop doing for someone else. I do enjoy grabbing a glass of wine with my food if we're going out to a nice place. I tried to compromise and said we could do breakfast or go to places where alcohol is not served. If Jack feels like Millie cannot be around alcohol, I understand that. She has an addiction, and I can only imagine how difficult it is to live in a world where things are constantly available. But I also feel like he's overstepping and telling me what I can order or not. I asked my fiance, what's going to happen when there's a gathering at our house and alcohol is served? Or when we plan our wedding, what's Jack going to do then? My fiance got upset because he says I'm being stubborn and I don't want to be empathetic towards his best friend's girl. He basically thinks I'm being a butt for not caring about his friend's feelings. I said fine, I will not order alcohol next time, but made sure to let him know I'm upset that someone else is controlling what I eat or drink. I believe that Jack won't be able to shelter Millie by controlling what other people do. Reddit, please tell me, am I the jerk? Yeah, you're definitely the jerk here, OP. I mean, two things. A, you either don't have to go on double dates with them, you can order all the wine that you want, or B, understand that she is coming out of rehab in a very, very serious addiction, and you don't need that glass of wine. I mean, let's be real here. You're only doing more harm than good. You can have wine after dinner when you get back to the house. YTA here, I think. Disking replied, "You're the jerk big time, buddy. You were asked politely to not consume alcohol in front of a recovering alcoholic, which is what we call common courtesy, and not to stop doing something for someone else. If you cannot have dinner without a glass of wine to the degree that you're negatively impacting everyone else's time and are knowingly and intentionally pulling out a trigger item for someone else's addiction, you might have a problem. Maybe you can have dinner alone while those three go out, because you clearly care more about drinking than you care about other people, your loved ones included. ETA, I'm an alcoholic who worked in the alcohol industry for years and has alcoholism running in the family. I have plenty of alcoholic friends who are fine to drink around and others who are not, and will ask others to refrain in small social settings, like a small dinner. And we're chill with that because we're friends. There's other people who won't ask, but I absolutely will not have alcohol around them. A lot of you seem to be disregarding that socially drinking in particular is a trigger for Millie. That doesn't mean she can't be in a restaurant, it just means it's difficult to be engaged socially with someone who's drinking. Alcoholism comes in many sizes, colors, and shapes, and so does recovery. There's no one-size-fits-all solution, and the journey sure as heck isn't linear. But in general, if someone asks you to refrain from something because in a certain setting it makes them uncomfortable, obviously, I don't mean OP's wedding here, which she's welcome not to attend, or is maybe months down the road where she'll be in a better place in her recovery. That isn't controlling behavior, it's a request, and the courteous thing to do is say, my night won't be ruined because I can't have a glass of wine with dinner. OP is being selfish and yes, a jerk. Alright everybody, that is all the time we got for today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and comment down below. And if you want to check out any of our other videos, click the video on the right. I got nothing else for you. I will see you all next time.